XL app. As for the North Florida Ospreys, they travel over to the West Coast, set for a 7 p.m. tip-off against the Florida Gulf Coast Eagles. It's currently 71 degrees at 6 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air & Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Wednesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, before dark. In for Baloo tonight here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. An abbreviated Hacker After Dark. We'll take you up till 7 o'clock, and then we will hand things off to Sean Kelly and the Florida Gator Radio Network. Florida at Georgia up at Stegman Coliseum in Athens. The Gators 17-6, 8-2. In the Southeastern Conference. Georgia, under head coach Mike White, of course the former Gator coach, is also 17-6, but they are struggling in SEC play. It is a big game for Georgia tonight. They need a couple of resume builders. This would be a big one to beat Florida. Keep in mind, Georgia beat the Gators up in Athens 1 year ago. In fact, I believe that was the final time Florida lost. Last year was up in Athens. They went on to win every game they had after the Georgia game in Athens in the regular season, the SEC tournament, and then, of course, on to win the national championship during March Madness. So maybe a little revenge on the minds of Florida tonight as they play Georgia at Stegman, and we will have that for you right here on 1010XL 92.5 FM beginning at 7 o'clock. So an abbreviated Hacker After Dark. We're glad you're with us for the next hour or so. Guest lineup tonight looks like this. There's going to be one guest, and it's a good one. Greg Auman of Fox Sports. Greg's done a terrific job covering the National Football League for years. Greg is a voter when it comes to Coach of the Year, so we will ask him flat out, did he vote for Liam Cohen for Coach of the Year? But Greg put together a list of the top 100 NFL free agents heading into next month's free agency period. And what I like about this list is, A, it's long, right? 100 players. It really gives you an in-depth thought about all the guys that will be available. Greg also gave predictions on where he sees these top 100 players landing, either re-signing with their current team or going somewhere else. Now, I will tell you, he had Monteric Brown in the top 100. He had Greg Newsome in the top 100. He, of course, had Travis Etienne and Devin Lloyd in the top 100. So we'll talk to Greg Auman of Fox Sports about where he sees the Jaguars in free agency, what he has them doing in free agency. He also had Devin Lloyd ranked as the number 3, the third best free agent overall in the National Football League entering free agency. And I wanted to expand on that with you tonight here on Hacker After Dark. So we'll talk to Greg Auman of Fox Sports coming up in less than 15 minutes. Every night on HAD, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Aaron Williams. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
So, Devin Lloyd, what a season it was in 2025. Are you kidding me? Career year. And it came at the perfect time for Devin Lloyd because obviously the Jaguars did not pick up his fifth-year option, meaning it was a contract year for Devin Lloyd. Now, I've had people tell me, well, the Jaguars dropped the ball on that. They should have picked up Devin Lloyd's fifth year. Do you remember July and August of last season as we entered training camp? Do you remember that basically everybody that follows the Jaguars or supports the Jaguars thought that was Ventrell Miller's job? Devin Lloyd was among players that, I don't know, could he be a surprise cut? Does he fit into what Anthony Campanile wants to do here? It's amazing how opinions change after career years. I don't fault the Jaguars at all for not picking up Devin Lloyd's fifth-year option, because at the time last season, they would have had to do it in, I guess, April or May of 2025. A new staff, you see what Devin Lloyd did through his first 3 years in the league. I probably wouldn't have picked up the fifth-year option either. Now, to Devin Lloyd's credit, and I told him this when I interviewed him for the first time in training camp in July, I thought Devin Lloyd handled that situation as well as you possibly could have. Was he disappointed the Jaguars didn't pick up his fifth-year option? Of course. Anybody would be. Disappointed, frustrated, but maybe a tad motivated as well. And he said as much when I talked to him, when a lot of us talked to him, when he did a lot of interviews down during training camp last offseason. He said, look, I understand it's a business. I would have loved to get the option picked up, but now I got to go out and prove it. I got to go out and prove that I'm worth what I believe I'm worth. And to Devin Lloyd's credit, he absolutely did that and then some. People will point to the 99-yard pick six against Kansas City. And that was obviously one of, if not the plays of the year for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But Devin Lloyd last year was so much more than that. There was a clear difference with the Jaguar defense, those games that Devin Lloyd missed due to injury. Clear difference. One would argue that Devin Lloyd was the best defensive player on the Jaguars in 2025. And I would probably be among the group that believes that. Now, because you did not pick up his fifth-year option, he is an unrestricted free agent. And what's messed up about the situation is the NFL has an issue when it comes to the linebacker position. They don't distinguish, say, a 3-4 edge outside linebacker from an inside linebacker when it comes to the franchise tag. The franchise tag number for linebackers is upwards of $27 to $28 million. That's not going to happen. The Jaguars are not going to franchise Devin Lloyd. I don't even think they can. But let's say hypothetically they find the funds to do so. I would be flabbergasted if Devin Lloyd gets the franchise tag put on him. You're going to have to find a way to re-sign Devin Lloyd. And I had Mike Giannetti, the owner and the founder of Spot Track, one of the main websites this time of year when it comes to NFL salary cap, contract questions. I had him on Hacker After Dark a couple weeks ago, and he is of the opinion that Devin Lloyd is going to get upwards of $19 to $20 million per year. Can the Jaguars do that? Well, not right now they can't, no. They would have to do a lot with the cap. They would have to do a lot of finagling, a lot of restructuring, a lot of turning signing bonuses into this and options into that. There would have to be a lot done to find the money to do that for Devin Lloyd and still potentially re-sign a Monteric Brown, bring in 10 or 11 draft picks. I mean, the Jaguars do not have a plethora of cash. They're going to be somewhat cap-strapped this offseason. So you talk to people locally and nationally when it comes to Devin Lloyd, and an overwhelming number of people believe that Devin Lloyd has played his final game as a Jacksonville Jaguar. Not because the team doesn't want to bring him back, but financially it's just going to be very, very hard, if not darn near impossible, to bring him back. Can they find a way to do it? Is he worth finding a way to do it? Because a lot would have to be done. Greg Auman of Fox Sports, who ranks Devin Lloyd as the third best free agent coming into this free agency period in less than a month, believes not only should the Jaguars bring back Devin Lloyd, he believes they will bring back Devin Lloyd. And he's really the first guy that I've talked to, and maybe there are some others, I don't know, but the first one that I've talked to that is of that mindset. I think a lot of fans, and tell me if I'm wrong, hit me up on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 904-641-1010, 904-641-1010. If it's an either or, if it's either Travis Etienne or Devin Lloyd, I think most Jaguar fans, at least the ones that I know, are in the Travis Etienne camp. Maybe it is either or. Maybe they lose both of them. I would find it very, very hard to believe that both guys are back in 2026. But what if you're able to re-sign Devin Lloyd, which means Etienne's probably gone, but you can go get a Rachaad White from Tampa, who Liam Cohen knows from his year down there, or a Tyler Algiers, or let's, for argument's sake, let's stick with Rachaad White. You bring back Devin Lloyd, Etienne's gone, but you go out and you get a Rachaad White to pair with a Bashal Tutin or Quinn Allen Jr. I don't know. You could probably do a lot worse than that. Is that a better option than re-signing Etienne and having to replace Devin Lloyd? Because who are you replacing Devin Lloyd with? Is that Ventrell Miller? Is that Jack Kaiser? Or is that somebody in the draft? Maybe one of those third-round picks. If you lose Devin Lloyd, I think, honestly, it's going to be harder to replace him with what's at your disposal than it would be to replace Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne was dynamic last year. Dynamic. But Liam Cohen's offense seems to be dynamic for running backs. Look at what Rachaad White and Bucky Irving did his year in Tampa. Then he comes here. Etienne has a career year. By the way, Bashal Tutin scored 7 touchdowns last year. 5 on the ground, 2 in the air. I don't know. If it were me, and it's either or, Etienne or Lloyd, if that's the question, I might be in the Lloyd camp. Bring Lloyd back and then try to bring in a Rachaad White caliber player because you already have Bashal Tutin and LaQuint Allen Jr. here. Losing Lloyd, you're going to be putting an awful lot on a Ventrell Miller or a Jack Kaiser or somebody else. Now, Campanile did wonders with Devin Lloyd last year. Could he do the same thing with Ventrell Miller? Yeah, he could. That's certainly a possibility. He could do that. I don't know if that would ultimately be the case, but we will see. Greg Auman, FoxSports.com. He did the article. Really good write-up. Go to FoxSports.com's main NFL page. You can also see it. I retweeted it on my Twitter, at Ryan Green 1010XL. That's right, Aaron. My legal name is Ryan Green. People think I was born Hacker, but that's a nickname.
I mean, that's what I thought.
Yeah, everybody thinks that. At Ryan Green 1010XL, if you want to check it out. The top 100 NFL free agents. Not only does Greg Auman have who they are, he has predictions on to where he believes they will go. So let's have Greg Auman on to ask about Greg Newsome, to ask about Montaric Brown, to ask about Travis Etienne, and to, of course, ask about Devin Lloyd. We're glad you're with us. It's an abbreviated Hacker After Dark. We'll take you up till 7 o'clock, and then we'll hand things off to Sean Kelly and the Gator Radio Network. Florida, Georgia hoops at the top of the hour right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Some call him a media mogul.
I believe it to be a terrific performance by a very gifted actor.
We call him
I am bad to the core now.
Dan Hicken. Mornings on 1010XL.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. Hacker here. And, it's been 2 years since I started my journey with Awaken 180. 2 years ago today, as a matter of fact, I weighed well over 300 pounds. I was in a bad way, man. Bad way. And I heard about, these pills that you take and these injections that you take. And, yeah, they might work sometimes. Sometimes they don't. Didn't work for me because I had tried things like that in the past, and I was still over 300 pounds. I needed something for me, and that was Awaken 180. I got hooked up with my coach, Kate. We talked on the phone every week. We made a game plan every week. It's the personal relationships. I talk to Kate every week at the same time, every Thursday for a year. We talked about my week, what was working, what wasn't, and I dropped over 100 pounds thanks to the personal guidance I got on the Awaken 180 weight loss program. If it's time for you to drop the weight like it was for me, look, football season's in the rearview mirror. Now would be a phenomenal time. You got 6 months till football. If you want to lose some weight getting ready for the summer months, go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800. Take it from a guy that lost over 100 pounds on this program. It worked for me. It'll work for you. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Get a healthy start in 2026. The Florida Department of Health in Duval County is here to help you get healthy and stay healthy all year long. Our dedicated team is committed to providing high-quality care and trusted public health services for our community. Our mission is simple: to protect, promote, and improve the health of you and your family. Learn more about our programs and services by visiting duval.floridahealth.gov.
Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, congratulating our Scholar Athlete of the Week, Annie Craig Charnley, senior basketball player at Wilson High. Annie is the co-president of the National Honor Society and is on the AB Honor Roll and the AP Scholar Award.
Tara Lagaman for Local Fair Jacks. It's our go-to for local produce, eggs, and meat. You pick exactly what you want each week online, straight from local farmers. And knowing where your food comes from matters. Visit localfairjacks.com.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick. We're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost are the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 14th.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
Repairing or replacing your roof is a pretty big investment. So when that time comes, you can trust my parents at Endless Summer Roofing. Visit EndlessSummerRoofing.com for a free quote. Endless Summer Roofing, protecting your home from Florida's endless summers.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, Green for Life.
Get ready to break on through this Valentine's night. Experience the Ultimate Doors Tribute live at Thrasher Horn Center February 14th. Get tickets at thcenter.org.
Do you want to grow your career with a company that's committed to growing with you? Florida Home AC has aggressive plans to double their workforce, and they're looking for determined, resourceful people with initiative. Just log on to floridahomeac.com/careers to find out more.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC. home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, your home for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we are glad you are with us. The NFL season is in the rearview mirror. The Seattle Seahawks are Super Bowl champions after their dominating win this past Sunday over New England. But boy, that NFL wheel, it doesn't stop, right? The NFL scouting combine comes up in less than 2 weeks, and we are now inside of a month away from NFL free agency. Let's preview the offseason with Greg Auman of Fox Sports. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Greg, how we doing, man?
I'm doing well. Hope you are too.
Hey, Greg, thank you so much for the time. You wrote a really interesting write-up on FoxSports.com highlighting the top 100 free agents coming into the offseason. Certainly a lot of Jaguars were on that list. We'll get to that, Greg, in a moment. But you and I haven't spoke in a couple of months. I'm just curious, your overall thoughts, year number one for Liam Cohen, James Gladstone here in Jacksonville. Obviously, quite the turnaround in the win department, but what was your overall takeaway from 2025 and what Cohen and Gladstone did here with the Jaguars?
Oh, I think you have to be impressed. I mean, I'm an AP voter, and for the awards, I mean, I had Cohen as my first place for Coach of the Year. Just the turnaround to be a first-year coach. Not only the increase in wins, but just the, I guess you'd just say the rebranding of the team, the confidence they had. Getting more out of really both sides of the ball. I think the defense and the takeaways and on everything with that side of the ball probably was more of a surprise just because you knew going in that Cohen was such a good offensive mind. But no, I mean, having seen him here in Tampa, having seen how good they were with him as offensive coordinator is not a surprise. You never know how things will take when someone's a first-year head coach, but I think did all the right things and really set the trajectory for the Jaguars in a positive direction where, again, they have every expectation now, even with the Texans right there in the division, to be a team that's going to be, not only getting into the playoffs next year, but maybe sticking around and doing, a deeper run in the playoffs next time.
For people that don't know, Greg is based in Tampa. I remember we had you on when Cohen got the job here.
Yeah.
And looking back on it, I mean, the Jaguars were the only team to interview him, Greg. And for him to come in and 13 wins just right out of the gate, did other teams just simply miss on Liam Cohen last year?
Well, I mean, I think it's two big leaps. I mean, I think Cohen, to be basically a first-time play-calling coordinator in the NFL in 24. I think he'd been an OC for a year with the Rams, but, went back to Kentucky. It felt like, I think there's so much confidence given to young offensive coaches in this league, but it did feel like, wow, that'd be two huge leaps to go from a first-time coordinator and the success with that to then be a first-time head coach with first-time coordinators on both sides. Such a young staff. And to see it take as well as it did. I think it's just, I mean, you think about, it's probably a little bit like where teams were with Udinski this year, where obviously Grant got more interviews. But again, you just wonder, I think you have to be careful as a young coach not to just take a job to have a job. And I think, I think there are good jobs. And then if you're patient, you can kind of set yourself up where your first head coaching job is a situation that's better suited for you and puts you in a position to win. I think Jacksonville was that for Liam a year ago and made a lot of sense. I mean, I think the Bucs did everything they could to try and keep him and make him the highest paid assistant in the league. And it's hard to keep somebody from a job like that. There's only 32 of them. They pay extremely well. And I think he correctly judged that it was a good opportunity for him and something he could find immediate success with.
Greg Auman, FoxSports.com, has covered the NFL for years, and he's kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Greg, quickly, you mentioned Grant Udinski. He was a finalist in Cleveland. There was some talk about him in Buffalo. He comes back. Campanile on the defensive side apparently was a finalist in Arizona. He also comes back. How big is that for Cohen going into year number 2 to get both his coordinators back with him?
Oh, I think it's huge. I mean, there was definitely a window there early in the process where he looked like he could lose both. And I think it's neat. And as a first-time head coach, you don't know how good they are at assembling a staff and identifying young talent. And to go all in like he did on two guys who really hadn't done anything at the level they were asked to do. It's easy sometimes if you're a young head coach, first-time head coach, you bring in a 65-year-old opposite coordinator just to give you somebody in the room who's more of a veteran presence and shows you the rope. And they, to their credit, they're like, we can be young across the board and still find ways to win. So no, for Jacksonville, it's amazing. It's one of those where you think about. I'm trying to think of other big teams that haven't lost a coordinator. It seems like almost all the big contenders. You think about the Eagles and the success they had, where they might lose both coordinators in 1 year sometimes. That's a huge thing for continuity and for being able to build and not have to worry about any adjustments in scheme or who you have implementing what you want on either side of the ball. So I think it's a big victory, and I don't know if they'll be as lucky a year from now if 26 goes anything like 25 did for them. But for now, it's great news.
Greg, final thought on last year's Jaguars, and I want to get to your piece on Fox Sports about free agency. Trevor Lawrence, obviously you mentioned you're an AP voter. He was one of the finalists for both Comeback Player of the Year and Most Valuable Player. What a turnaround, and I guess a lot of that credit also probably needs to go to Liam Cohen.
Yeah, I mean, I think Trevor, to see the success they had building around him on offense, I didn't think of him that seriously as an MVP candidate, but I think in terms of just somebody getting back and being who he was drafted to be and having the defense around him, I'm trying to think if he had, I think the two times I was in Jacksonville, the one was beating the Chiefs. He had some great games that I saw in person. Obviously, the playoff game didn't work out, not necessarily his fault at all, but yeah, I think for him, it's one of those tricky deals where in today's NFL, these young quarterbacks sometimes get paid at such a high level where you're at that $50 million tier and you don't have necessarily the sustained playoff success or anything like that. So I think for him to validate the success they had a couple years ago, win the division, hold their own in a tough playoff game, I think he's kind of where they want him to be right now. And to have, I remember, early in the year, there was questions as to whether Trevor would be his guy and how much could he do everything he wanted that a quarterback to do in this offense. And I think he's done that. I mean, I think, in terms of having the right pieces around him, I think they'll continue to tweak that and adjust that. But no, I think Trevor Lawrence had the year they needed him to have to kind of lead this team to where it got.
Greg Allman of FoxSports.com. You wrote a terrific piece highlighting the top 100 free agents to be. Again, NFL free agency begins in less than a month. I want to save Devin Lloyd and ETN for a moment. I want to focus on Greg Newsome and Montaric Brown. They were among your top 100. I believe you had Newsome moving on in your prediction. You had Montaric Brown returning. I would tend to agree with that. And what's interesting, Greg, as well, is the Travis Hunter factor, right? With the emergence of Parker Washington, the arrival of Jacoby Myers, Brian Thomas Jr. as well, knowing Newsome and Brown are both free agents, and Travis Hunter is coming back, that would maybe complicate things a little bit for Jacksonville in the secondary and might decide what they're ultimately going to do with those two free agents to be.
Yeah, it's one of those tricky deals where I think they have to specifically pick to keep one and pick to let one go. I think they probably let them both go if they really thought the price was high. But like you said, they kind of have the insulation out receiver and offense to where, if you don't know how snaps are going to get a portion for Travis Hunter in year two. But I think it'd be easy to think it'd be more on the defensive side right now just because they need him more there. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know the specifics between those two in terms of who they prefer or what it's going to cost to keep them. It just felt like of the areas where you can't keep them all, that was one position where you probably going to have to make a tough decision and then keep one. It doesn't always mean you keep the better one. Sometimes you keep the more value of the two and somebody you might see growing into a bigger role. So no, it's a nice problem to have. In that the guys that are leaving in free agency might need a comp pick or two as well. This is a deep enough group where, they could come out ahead, could have some picks coming a year from now in the draft just from losing the quality free agents they might be losing.
You have Travis Etienne and Devin Lloyd among your top 20 free agents to be. Let's begin with Etienne. Certainly a lot of Jaguar fans, Greg, would like him back. He had a great year. Do dollars make sense, though, at the running back position? He just turned 27 years old. And with Bashal Tutin sitting in the wings, who had a pretty decent rookie campaign, it'll be interesting to see what ultimately does happen with Travis Etienne.
Yeah, that's one of those where, they have Tutin there, like you said. I think they'd like to keep Etienne. I just don't know. He should be, honestly. I think Kenneth Walker has probably priced himself above him, especially what they did in the playoffs. But should be right there in terms of a guy that, you if you're going to pay for a running back, you want to pay for somebody coming off that rookie contract where they're still young, can still get, years 5, 6, and 7 should be prime years for a running back. So no, I'll be curious to see what the market is. I think I had him getting to the Saints, I think. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm sure there's a price that Jacksonville is willing to pay and a dollar figure they're willing to go to keep him. But there also has to be a point where you say, okay, you don't want to overpay too much if you have somebody else that can handle things. You'd have Tuden on his rookie deal for 3 more years. Maybe that helps you keep another DB or handle another position that can also get expensive. I'll be curious to see how they handle that.
Connecting the dots with you being in Tampa, Rachaad White is a free agent. Liam Cohen has experience with him from that year in Tampa. Rachaad White might be a little cheaper than Travis Etienne. Could that be a direction Jacksonville might ultimately go?
Yeah, I think I even had Rachaad sign with the Jags in that top 100, if I remember right. I mean, Rashaad's not coming back here. I think he's shown himself to be a good complementary back, would mesh well with Tuten, I think. He's a really good pass-catching back, can catch 50 passes a game for you, or 50 passes a year for you. Good in pass protection, did really well in that offense. It's funny, Rachaad could go, I think he has 3 different coordinators he could go to in terms of whether he goes, to Carolina with Dave Canales, go to Jacksonville with Liam Cohen, go to Philadelphia with Josh Broussard. There's unfortunately he's had his share here. But I think that would make sense. I don't think Rachaad will be nearly, Etienne's probably a $9 or $10 million back. And I think Rachaad White's probably closer to 4, maybe 5. If it's more than that, I'd be surprised. But no, I think their familiarity and just the opportunity to step into a kind of a good split there where you have another young back like he has with Bucky Irving, but one where I think he would know what his role is, before he signs.
Final moments, Greg Allman of Fox Sports. You also had another former Tampa Bay Buccaneer signing with Jacksonville in your piece, Cade Otton at tight end, which would make sense. Brenton Strange is obviously tight end 1 here, but do they want to upgrade from a Johnny Munt or a Hunter Long? And certainly Cohen has familiarity with Cade Otton.
Yeah, absolutely. I think now that I think about it, I think I had Rachaad going to Carolina when I think about looking back on things, because it did have Cade going to Jacksonville, and Cade could very well resign here. It's one of those where they've got to decide, how he fits in, how they like him. Cade Otton's a guy that plays a ton. I think he's over 90% snaps the last 3 years. Very, solid, does everything tight end. Hasn't had the touchdown numbers you'd probably like to have, but pretty consistently a 50-catch guy. No, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Like you said, Strange is there. I don't feel like they have that much else back at tight end, where if he wants to do more, I think everybody's going crazy with 12 personnel right now. If you want to have a solid, strong second tight end you can put out there and kind of make that the base. They could go 3 wide in Jacksonville and have a really good group there too as their base default scheme. But no, I think Cade's a guy that probably going to get about $8-10 million a year, mid-range for a tight end. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. I'll be curious to see. That's another one where, if they like what they had on offense and they want to bring everything back, they can certainly try to bring it back. But if they also want to get younger at some key positions, the Bucs could do that as well.
Greg, as we wrap up, the biggest takeaway I had from your article revolving around the Jaguars was Devin Lloyd. Now, you ranked 100 free agents. You had Devin Lloyd number 3 overall, which, I don't blame you. He's unbelievably productive this past year. But unlike a lot of people, myself included, you think Jacksonville might very much bring back Devin Lloyd even at a high cost.
Yeah, I don't know what their priorities are, but I think when you think about this defense, I think he was kind of the heart in the middle of this defense in terms of takeaways, in terms of the ball hawk nature of things. I was there, the Chiefs game where he had whatever it was, 97, 98-yard pick 6 off Patrick Mahomes. He'll be expensive. Again, I think I put him at $20 million a year, at least $18 million a year, which is a lot for a position that teams don't usually spend a lot on. So, it's possible that Jacksonville has somebody else in mind. They let him move and take what would be a 3rd-round comp pick for losing somebody on that big a deal. But I think if you knew you had the coordinator back, if you knew you had the pieces back in the secondary that you want, it makes sense you'd try to bring the band back and kind of, roll it back as much as you could, even if that means, an expensive deal and a significant investment in Devin Lloyd.
Greg, as we say goodbye, again, the top 100 free agents, when you put this piece together on Fox Sports, how do you assess the free agent class as a whole? Strong, average, below average? What's your thought there?
Yeah, it's definitely not strong. It's one of those where, these teams are so proactive. When you get to free agency, and we're definitely not there yet, the best talent is staying and is off the market and is already re-signed. Teams are re-signing. You can re-sign a draft pick after 3 years. So, they're doing it a year before they get to free agency so often. So, unfortunately, of that 100, if I'm ballparking it, I would say 15 to 20 will be off the market and either re-signed or tagged before free agency starts on March 9th. So it felt like a down year. It's like it's a good exercise to get to 100, but it's not like you got 100 Pro Bowlers in there, So I think on the whole, it doesn't seem like a deep class, but I think there's definitely some impact and some guys at the top of the class that will make a difference. You think about Milton Williams a year ago. We had him really high in our top 100, and he goes and, helps the Patriots get to the Super Bowl. So no, I'll be curious to see what shakes out. And some of these, again, Malik Willis is a complete unknown right now. So he could be a complete bust a year from now, or he could be coming off a 25 touchdown season in his first real, extended playing time in whatever it is, year 5 for him. So I think there's some unknowns, and it'll be fun to see which teams are willing to take the big investment and pay to get them.
Greg, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville, Fox Sports, your work there, and where they can find that article about the top 100 NFL free agents.
Yeah, just foxsports.com. It should be on the main page right now. It's something I think people will be reading a lot in the next month, just to go through and see what the options are and try and figure out who you're keeping and who you're losing, who you might pick up. And then I'm on Twitter, on X at my name, Greg Allman. Everything I'll link to from there, too.
Greg Allman of Fox Sports. Greg, I know you're busy. Thank you for taking time out. We'll talk soon, pal.
No problem, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts. Now, another classic moment in Jags history.
Next. Intercepted. It's Rasheed Mathis to win it for Jacksonville.
This is the home of your team, 1010XL.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Care you can see.
When it comes to glass, you don't want average. You want flawless. Duval Glass and Mirror has transformed homes and businesses across Jacksonville for over 35 years. Frameless showers that wow. Mirrors cut exactly to your style. Fogged or broken glass replaced. Decorative tabletops, windows replaced or repaired to stand up to Florida storms. All backed by a 100% guarantee. Visit DuvalGlass.com for your free quote. There's only one name for glass and mirror around these parts. It's Duval.
Be the first to discover the best new home community in beautiful Green Cove Springs. Highland Trail, where the rhythm of life slows down. Enjoy green spaces, luxury pools, pickleball courts, winding trails, and more at livehighlandtrail.com. Choose from 3 premium builders, just starting in the 300s.
Oh, at Highland Trail.
It's Cancer Prevention Month, and Ackerman Urology reminds you to stay ahead of prostate, bladder, and kidney health. Get a yearly checkup, ask about a screening, and make self-checks a habit. To make an appointment at one of 4 locations, visit AckermanUrology.com.
Hey, Jacksonville DDH. Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here with the scoop from Dreamfinders Homes, your National Builder of the Year. We've got first-year interest rates as low as 2.99% and homes in 20-plus communities throughout Northeast Florida. If you're house hunting, make sure your first pick Dreamfinders Homes, the proud official home builder of the PGA Tour, the Florida Gators, and your Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dfhsalesevent.com today and tell them Dreamfinders Danny sent you.
Valentine's Day is sweet, but let's be honest, your septic tank wants attention too. because when it gets ignored, it doesn't sulk, it causes problems, big ones. That's why DuckDuckRooter, the only master septic contractor in Northeast Florida, is rolling out the Show Your Septic Some Love promotion. Right now, get $50 off septic tank pumping when you book by February 28th. Give your septic a little love now so it doesn't make a big scene later. When you start, call the Duck, 904-862-6769, DuckDuckRooter.com.
This is Hayes Carlion for First Florida Credit Union. I went to the branch on 210 to get my car loan and had a fantastic experience. I got a great rate and was in and out. The online banking services are also outstanding. Depositing checks through the mobile app is fast and efficient. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Credit Union in the Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards for 3 years running, and it's easy to see why. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
And thank you to Greg Allman, FoxSports.com, for joining us here tonight on Hacker After Dark. Yeah, he has Greg Newsome moving on in free agency, and I think that's right. I would be pretty surprised if Greg Newsome was brought back. I don't necessarily think he was bad, but he probably wasn't what the Jaguars were hoping for when they acquired him for Tyson Campbell. But keep in mind, a lot of that Tyson Campbell trade, too, was to get some of that contract off the books. And Campbell, all indications are, performed pretty well in Cleveland. They think they won the trade, and they probably did. But with Monteric Brown also becoming a free agent this offseason, if it's either or, Newsome or Brown, well, you bring Monteric Brown back. And that's what I ultimately hope the Jaguars would do. That's what I expect them to do. ETN, I think Greg Allman actually had ETN going to New Orleans, and that goes into what we were talking about earlier. Do you let ETN walk with the idea of being able to bring back Devin Lloyd? Could you bring in a Rashad White from Tampa, which would be less expensive than Travis Etienne, but a guy that has experience with Liam Cohen from his 1 year in Tampa? A lot of questions to figure out. And what's interesting, notice the date today, February the 11th. So here's a situation for you to think about. The Jaguars lost to Buffalo a month ago today, January 11th. The Jaguars season ended 1 month ago. 1 month from now will be when guys sign on opening day of free agency. So literally we are exactly in the middle from when the Jaguars season ended a month ago to when pen meets paper on these contracts 1 month from now, when the NFL league calendar does officially begin on Wednesday, March the 11th. So we'll bring you more thoughts on that. Obviously, we'll talk a lot of free agency, a lot of draft, the scouting combine. 2 weeks from really now, I believe on-field work in Indianapolis starts 2 weeks from tomorrow. The Seattle Seahawks, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw this or not, they did have their parade, their celebration earlier today, and right on, kudos, good for them. They were very boisterous, obviously, about people that doubted them, and with good reason. I think a lot of people doubted Seattle because I just don't think a lot of people saw a lot of Seattle because they're Seattle, right? I mean, they're playing, the 4 o'clock, 4:25 window here in Jacksonville. Usually by that point, we were recapping the Jaguars. We didn't see them a whole lot except for the one game that they obviously were here. The Jaguars were very competitive with Seattle. If you would have told me at that point the Seahawks would ultimately be the team that wins the Lombardi Trophy, I would have probably not believed you back in October when that game took place. But kudos to them, man. Right on. They were terrific the remainder of the year, and they held their parade today in downtown Seattle, and it appeared to be quite the deal for them. Winter Olympics going on as well. The men's hockey officially began earlier today. I know a lot of hope for the United States. Certainly Canada will be in the mix. I didn't realize, I guess I should have, I didn't realize hockey was really big in Italy, but they are in Italy for the Winter Olympics. I saw the Italian hockey team taking on Sweden earlier today. Not that I knew any of the guys, But I was just fascinated that Italy had enough guys to have a hockey team in the Olympics. I don't think there's a lot of Italian players in the National Hockey League. I could be wrong, but it was interesting seeing that. I know we had an Olympic record in the speed skating today. I won't give away too much because I know a lot of you guys will watch it tonight when it's on tape delay. Me personally, I've been more of a gold zone guy. You got the red zone for the NFL. Well, you also have the gold zone with Scott Hansen and Andrew Siciliano, where they take you from like 8 a.m. Eastern time all the way through the afternoon. They show you all the gold medals and medals that are handed out. It's quite the deal. I really enjoy it. I think NBC has done a terrific job with their coverage so far of the Winter Olympics. Want to get into Gator basketball as well. Again, we're going to take you to the top of the hour. We're going to get out a little early for Florida, Georgia. But I did want to mention this. Not to be on a down note on a Wednesday, but my goodness, did you see this earlier today? James Vanderbeek gone at the age of 48. Boy, I talked last week when Catherine O'Hara, the mother from Home Alone, passed away, that one kind of hit me a little bit. Boy, this might be even worse today. I mean, if you're in my age range, I'm 42. If you're 35 to 45, probably in that age range, I mean, Varsity Blues was a big part of my high school time. And I mean, that was, the movie now you look back on it and it is what it is. It's a teen movie. But back then with Vanderbeek as Johnny Moxon and Paul Walker, who obviously is no longer here as well, just awful because really loved Varsity Blues back in the day. And James Vanderbeek, I knew he was sick, battling cancer, but his passing today, if you have not heard, at the age of 48, kind of got me a little bit. I mean, 48 years old, just a terrible, terrible situation. Apparently passed away peacefully at his home earlier today. So certainly prayers to his friends and family. And man, another good one gone. James Vanderbeek, not with us any longer, dead at the age of 48. Not an easy transition, but I did not know if you had heard that yet or not, and wanted to at least share with you my thoughts on that. I was a big James Vanderbeek fan. I know some of you were Dawson's Creek people. I wasn't, but I was certainly a Varsity Blues guy. So yeah, that one got me earlier today when I saw that news. Not an easy transition, but we do talk sports on a nightly basis here on Hacker After Dark. It's what we do, and it's what we will continue to do here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. We'll come back, and we'll do a quick preview of Florida and Georgia, and then we will turn things over to Sean Kelly and the Gator Radio Network as they will have the call from Stegman Coliseum, the Gators and the Bulldogs, coming up at the top of the hour here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
If you can't get enough Jags and Gators,
Duva!
explore the 1010XL network. Get more of what you're looking for at 1010XL Gators and 1010XL Jaguars.
Frank Frangie here. Nimnick Chevrolet is proud to be a 7-time Chevrolet Dealer of the Year recipient, the only dealership in Northeast Florida to ever win this prestigious award, earned by treating customers with courtesy, respect, and fairness. All part of Nimnick's Treating You Right guarantee. Visit NimnickChevy.com to learn more. For 3 generations, Nimnick has been the place customers keep coming back to. They treat you right. Where do you go? The answer is simple. Nobody but Nimnick. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins. Fighting for your rights since 1975.
Hey gang, Prosser here for my friends Chad and Sandy. What are your concerns? What struggles do you anticipate when it comes time to sell your home? What is it that bothers you? What's keeping you from getting max money as quickly as possible? Well, I don't know what those reasons are because I know they're all silly. Because Chad and Sandy have one down to the line guarantee. Your home sold guaranteed or they will buy it. It'll be at a price and a rate that you agree upon beforehand. So if you need to sell now, fast, easy, stress-free, and you need max price, then you need Chad and Sandy. The government's making moves intended to push mortgage rates lower. The last time rates dropped, we saw a selling and buying frenzy. Now's the time to prepare. It's time to call Chad and Sandy. Darcy in San Jose did. I wanted to move to a more walkable, vibrant area. Within 3 days of working with Chad and Sandy's team, I found the perfect home. They do it stress-free with a guarantee. Go to chadandsandy.com or call 414-6200. That's chadandsandy.com.
This is Jeff Middlecoff with Cogent Bank. My associate Ryan Salem and I joined Cogent Bank because we wanted to revolutionize the mortgage business, just like Cogent Bank has revolutionized the banking business. So Ryan Salem and I are able to leverage the power and stability of Cogent Bank to go out and find our clients the best investors, the best products, and the best rates in the entire country for your particular mortgage loan. Of course, you don't have to be a customer at Cogent Bank to take advantage of our mortgage services to buy or refinance your home. We offer jumbo loans, VA, FHA, conventional and investment loans. At Cogent Bank, we offer mortgages nationwide, so we can help you with a second home or help a family member who lives or is moving to another state. Call Ryan Salem or myself, Jeff Middlecoff, at Cogent Bank today, 904-442-9191, to see how we can help you with any of your mortgage loan needs, whatever or wherever they may be.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, Cogent Bank, NMLS ID 402296, Fine Salem, NMLS ID 1182429, Jeff Middlecoff, NMLS ID 249086.
For nearly 60 years, Green Acres Sporting Goods at the corner of Normandy and Hammond Boulevard has been Jacksonville's trusted name for the outdoors. From archery to hunting and fishing and more, their expert staff helps you get it right the first time. Right now, stop in and try the newest bows by Hoyt and Matthews and get dialed in before spring. Gear up today at greenacresporting.com.
Hi, Jacksonville. This is Dr. George Bari, an orthopedic surgeon who is fellowship trained in sports medicine by the Dr. James Andrews. Wintertime is upon us, and you may notice you wake up in the morning with some aches and pains in the shoulders and knees. If this happens to you, don't forget, stay mobile to try to reduce stiffness in your joints. And if that doesn't work, come see me at Bari Orthopedics, where we can treat you with cortisone injections and platelet-rich plasma injections and other non-invasive needs. Visit me at bariorthopedics.com.
Free for life? Just by saying that, you already know I'm referring to Awaken 180. They're the only company providing it. Fast, proven weight loss, and then keep it off thanks to free support for life. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Mark Watson here to tell you a little bit about hardballcreative.com. It's your online promo haven with thousands of ideas on how to promote your company. We're open 24/7, 365.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Take aim and make a difference with Operation New Uniforms Veterans Cup on Friday, April 10th. This competitive clay shooting tournament is a fun afternoon on the range, followed by awards, a reception, and great company, all in support of our veterans. Proceeds benefit Operation New Uniform, helping veterans, transitioning service members, and military spouses successfully move from military service into meaningful careers. Put your team together and join us on April 10th. Register today at onuvets.org. That is onuvets.org.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. And for Baloo, abbreviated show tonight. We're about to turn things over to the Gator Radio Network. Florida, Georgia, up in Athens, Stegman Coliseum. You'll hear it right here on 92.5 FM. Tip-off comes up in less than 10 minutes. Quickly on the game tonight, one would think a trap game potentially for Florida. You're coming off that big win over A&M, the battle for first place that turned out to be a blowout last Saturday. You get Kentucky in Gainesville this Saturday, which will be an enormous game. And then right here in the middle is this Wednesday night against the Georgia Bulldogs. But the one thing to remember, at least the one thing I'm looking at, Georgia beat Florida last year on this court in Athens. This was the last game that Florida lost last year. After this game in Athens, that loss, they went on to win the rest of the regular season games. They ran through the SEC tournament, and then they obviously won the NCAA tournament. So the returning guys like Hal, Condon, Chinyelu, Clavshar, Hanlogden, Isaiah Brown, the guys that were there last year that lost to Georgia in Athens, probably some motivation, certainly on their part. So that's why, to me, the trap game, I don't think so. I just think it's going to be a tough game for Florida. If you look at Georgia, they're 17-6. Normally, they get somebody on their home floor every year. They almost got Tennessee. Tennessee beat them by 1. They haven't really gotten somebody yet on their home floor like they got the Gators last year. So it will be a tough environment, and Georgia really needs it for their resume for the NCAA tournament. 17-6 is great, but they don't really have very many signature wins on their resume. They're looking at this as an opportunity to get a signature win. So it should be a good one between the Gators and the Dogs. This is the second meeting of the season. Remember, Florida won down in Gainesville by 15. There was an ejection in that game. Some tempers flared in that game. It's a rivalry, man. There's no doubt about it, not only on the gridiron, but also on the hardwood. So Florida and Georgia coming up in a matter of moments. Sean Kelly and the Gator Radio Network will have it for you at the top of the hour. We'll be back tomorrow on Hacker After Dark, right back here at 6 o'clock. We will go to 8 o'clock tomorrow. Again, we are in for Rick Ballou the rest of the week here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Thank you to Greg Auman of Fox Sports for joining us tonight, and thank you, Jacksonville, for listening. As we always tell you, and we cannot possibly tell you enough how much we absolutely appreciate it. So for Aaron Williams, I'm the Hacker Ryan Green. This has been Hacker After Dark on a Wednesday. Don't go anywhere. Sean Kelly, Gator Radio Network, Florida, Georgia, next, right here on 92.5